So, I wanted to briefly talk about radical feminism. I mean, that's all I talk about is radical feminism, obviously. But I want to be clear on my position that there is absolutely no place for racism in radical feminism, and there is no place for white tears in radical feminism. I'm a white woman. I've been clear about that, but it's quite insane to me to see racism and weird white fragility among women calling themselves radical feminists. Further, there's no place for viciousness against other women in radical feminism. I disagree with so many women. I think the opinions of plenty of women are totally insane and fucked up, but there's really no place for outright viciousness and deliberate hostility, attacks, and deliberate, what am I trying to say? And the deliberate calling out or directing attention to women you don't like, or directing negative attention to women you don't like. There's just no place for it. There really is a framework to radical feminism, and a code of ethics, a way to behave, and viciousness against women is not one of those things. You certainly can critique women's behavior. You can address women's behavior. You can call out women's behavior. But to attack and be vicious is not appropriate. Not appropriate at all. And the last point I want to make is that popularity and follower count are not indicative of good radical feminist praxis. Radical feminism can have no leaders. Radical feminism has no figureheads. The second someone props herself up as a voice for radical feminism is the second you should be looking away from her, because it is an equal opportunity belief system, I suppose. And certainly some women are more inclined to speak up and speak out than others. Some women are more inclined to really put themselves out there, but that doesn't make them a leader, and it doesn't make them an authority, and it doesn't even mean that they have a good grasp or understanding of radical feminism at all. So I just want to make those points that the three big ones. Racism has no place, four big ones. Racism has no place in radical feminism. White fragility has no place in radical feminism. Attacking women has no place in radical feminism. And propping oneself up as a face of radical feminism or a voice for radical feminism or some kind of a figurehead or spokesperson or something of the sort is antithetical to radical feminism. And yeah, popularity, follower count is not indicative of good radical feminist praxis. Engagement on social media is not indicative of good radical feminist praxis. Just because someone has a lot of followers or subscribers or gets a lot of comments or replies does not mean that they know anything about radical feminism. And so be careful on social media when you are following women, whether it be on Twitter or Instagram or here on YouTube or wherever it might be. I've said this time and time again, but simply calling yourself a radical feminist, that doesn't mean that you are in any way. And when you tout rhetoric that is very antithetical to radical feminism. No, not acceptable. So just because someone calls herself a radical feminist doesn't mean she actually is one, doesn't mean she has any understanding of radical feminism doesn't mean she has any authority to speak about radical feminism. People use the words radical feminism very liberally, ironically, and they apply them to sets of beliefs that are not truly authentic to what radical feminism is. So just be careful and ask questions. And if you see something that a radical feminist posts or says that makes you raise your eyebrows a little bit, just be open to questioning it or asking why someone posted that or what they mean by it. And don't take people's word for it when they call themselves a radical feminist if they are not speaking about or promoting true radical feminist praxis. Simply being critical of the trans movement is not radical feminism. All radical feminists are critical of the trans movement, but all people critical of the trans movement are not radical feminists, even when they call themselves radical feminists. Thanks.